Yeah, that's just leftists for you though. Like they report everything if it doesn't agree with them.
Well, conservatives too, leftists, so-called conservatives.
I don't know, man. People are just thin-skinned. A lot of
That's
it.
why
Like
we just need to freaking go to Rome and throw us in the Colosseum and just let us all fucking duke it out. Let us all go at it, man. Last man standing.
That would actually be really cool if somebody took up that project to make a Coliseum in the U.S., like a legit Coliseum, like marble stone and everything, just giant stone structure. We're bringing it back to Coliseum. We'll do events there. We'll do concerts. We'll do all this cool shit. That'd be awesome. Like, you imagine doing
beat the living snot out of each other.
Yeah. I would actually like to see a naval battle, like an old school, like wooden boat naval battle, like they did back in the Coliseum days. Yeah, like they would actually flood that shit.
That's crazy.
God,
fill it up with water.
Could you imagine seeing that shit? Like how crazy that must have been. Like even for today's standards, that would still be fucking legitimately crazy. I think. Have you seen those dudes that do chariot motorcycles?
Mm-hmm.
That shit's insane too. Like that's what we need. Chariot races in the Coliseum again with motorcycles and fucking monster trucks.
I'm down.
That'd be the fucking bomb. Oh. Moving on to other bombs. We got to talk about the process of the cop city, the one that got killed and shot and killed. Like they're still having. No, not Tyre. This is a different dude. So like I originally thought that this was related. It isn't. Totally different story. Two different stories. I thought they were connected together, but they're not. But what it is this dude allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly, shot at the cops. Cops shot back. Right? Like, I get it. These dudes have been charged with domestic terrorism. They've been obstructing them putting in this police training center there in Georgia.
Oh yeah.
That one.
In Atlanta.
And I have issues with that. Is the fact that they will call right-wing people domestic terrorists, but then they'll call these people protesters. They are protesters. Mm-hmm. They're protesting because lighting people's houses on fire, firebombing cop cars, and shooting at them is not domestic terror. It is protesting. And that's the thing that annoys me.
Well, they arrested a bunch of them, and they
did,
were
and they charged with domestic terror because in Georgia. Yeah. If you are trying to use force or violence to coerce government officials to change policy, that is considered terrorism. And that is the right definition of what it is. If you have political ends and use violence to achieve them, that is terrorism. That is political terrorism.
They all look like they stunk.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they do. They've been living in fucking trees.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as bad as it was back in the, what was it, the
70s?
Yeah, the 60s. Yeah, 60s, 70s, where they're actually bombing like the Greenpeace, like not the Greenpeace people. Who were they? The Weather Underground. That's what it was. Weather Underground was bombing places and shit like that. It could be much worse, but it's still that same ideology of these people wanting to use terror in order to do that. But they've got the mainstream media backing them up, saying that they're not terrorists, which is insane to me. Why would you defend people that are doing much worse than what happened on January 6th? And I will say that January 6th was bad in its own right, but it was nowhere near as damaging as what they've been doing in Georgia and other places, and the billions of dollars that they've done. The only thing they haven't done that would get them on the list is attacking Nancy Pelosi's office.
Well, the same people that they're calling, the insurrectionists are the same people that are doing this shit in Atlanta. Those weren't patriots, man. Those were infiltrators from Antifa,
like Mike Epps
leftists,
and whatever that dude was.
They were doing all that stuff. That was them totally.
Yeah.
So,
but I will say this: like
motherfuckers.
The last episode we talked about. That I said that like the right needs to stop defending bad cops, and I will repeat that again. We do. Like I still think that cops are necessary for safety and security. We need police officers in order to protect neighborhoods and especially people that need that help. They serve a purpose. But the problem is, as I've said this before, is that they do not have adequate training to deal with the situations that they're doing. Because I remember like we were talking about earlier with the military is our rules of engagement were much more stringent and strict in Afghanistan and Iraq than most people are willing to admit that got people killed. If we have the same rules of engagement in Afghanistan and Iraq, There would be a lot more bodies, I will assure you, because like all the things that we had to do in order to just be able to shoot somebody was insane. Like, dude could be literally shooting at us for 40 minutes straight, right? Walk around, drop his AK and go, I don't know what fucking happened. I wasn't doing it. And you saw the guy had it. He was shooting at you and he dropped it, but you can't fucking shoot him now. Because, like, he dropped his weapon. He's now a non-combatant. Even though 5 minutes later, he's going to go down the road and plant a fucking IED for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
That sneeze, man.
I know. It's the whole qualified immunity.
Yeah. Qualified immunity is bad.
Yeah.
It protects way too many. It does. And... did you see the video with Tyre Nichols? That's right. I was trying to remember his last name. Tyre Nichols. It was fucking bad. Like, it was worse than like they had seen with Rodney King. It was fucking bad. Like, real bad. I'm not gonna lie. And what?
Yeah, I saw it.
It was insane, dude. Like, really
what
insane.
was insane about it was, somebody's life was taken from him.
Yeah.
Well, not at that moment. He was still alive.
A lot of people are pointing out that it looked fucking personal.
But the fact of the matter is that they were pretty much, I'm not saying they were doing it, but it seemed like they were high-fiving and kind of praising the fact that they did this to this kid. And actually, there's a lot of police officers coming out talking about it, which is good.
It was really bad because, like, okay, so I want to bring this back to the military aspect, what we're talking about, ROEs and things you do. If we had done what these cops had done to a prisoner of war, we would be in Leavenworth right now for war crimes. That is a war crime to beat a detained prisoner in the open like that, especially to death. You're going to fucking jail. There's no doubt about it.
And the fact is, it was 5-on-1.
Yeah. He was already handcuffed, too.
What would the cops do if 5 of us were beaten on one person? What would happen to us?
Yeah, we get shot. That's what it would happen.
We go to jail, obviously, and we get beat up. We get thrown in a hoosegow. Yeah, but it takes 5 pretty stout dudes pouncing on one guy that they probably all outweighed. They were bigger than him.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't take much for one of the cops to say, "Hey, stop. Let's just put him in cuffs and get him out of here."
The stupid and funny thing at the same time about this whole situation, right, is the fact that you've got people on CNN and like MSNBC saying that this is all because of internalized white supremacy, because these were all black cops. And that just annoys me because it's not about race in this particular guard. It's about shitty fucking people. This could have been white cops. It could have been Asian cops. It could have been Mexican cops. It doesn't fucking matter. If you did that shit to somebody and you killed them, you're a murderer. That's why they're getting arrested and they're going to jail. And this is the point I don't understand, is that there are people rioting right this weekend that are wanting what? What are you wanting? They already got arrested. They were taken care of. They weren't even protected. They weren't even hidden. The city did the right thing, and they got these guys out of the department and in jail, right? So what are you doing? Why are you destroying people's livelihoods in the streets and destroying buildings when you already got what you wanted? That's something I don't understand. Like, why are you hurting other people because of it?
It's just always a reason to fucking protest and burn shit down. And they're all these Adderall kids, they're out there just releasing all their anger and getting free shit, and it just gives them a reason to be pissed off.
The problem is this is nothing like George Floyd, right? Like, we can see this was maliciously intended to beat this dude, right? We can see that. These are bad cops. There's no denying it. They were bad cops. They did something, like you said, if we did that in the service and we were overseas, we would get arrested for war crimes, right? That's how bad the situation is. Like, even if he was resisting and all that stuff, you still had him cuffed and you beat him to death.
And it's not even just overseas in war crimes, just out here in your neighborhood or outside at a bar,
if five dudes roped some dude up and started beating him to death, you would be going to jail.
you'd be going to jail real fast.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I can get where you're saying. I think it was malicious, and it's that gang mentality kind of like,
yeah.
Once it starts and everyone's in, you can't stop that.
Yeah,
and because it's a chemical in the brain that just.
It's that mob mentality. That's the same thing that happens.
That mob mentality.
The problem is, like, I want to talk to the left directly about this before we go. Is that, look, when stuff like this happens, especially with like the solidarity we had with George Floyd, and then now we're having with Tyre here, is that you had us on your side, but then when you start rioting, you start causing destruction, you make it where the moment is about that instead of what happened. You have to stick to what happened in order for people to understand. If you want people on the right, like myself and Michael, to be on your side, you have to show us that this is an important issue, but you don't need to riot to make it happen. Peaceful protest is what Martin Luther King wanted us to do. The way you get things across is by communicating and not destroying and creating together. That's the problem. You are missing the point of creating together, and the more you alienate, the less likely it is for them to be on your side and to convince them to help you. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, because the only thing we're seeing is them rioting. We don't care. At that moment, we're like, well, I don't care what they're doing it for, but they're burning down this, they're burning down their own neighborhood, they're burning these cops, they're doing this, they're doing that. So, that one, Memphis, it was in Memphis. So,
yeah, it was in Memphis. I don't remember if it was Tennessee or if it was on the Arkansas line, or which Tennessee it was. Like, it's too many Tennessees. I mean, not Tennessee's, Memphis. Yeah.
They're going to get what they deserve, man, and they deserve whatever they get.
Like I said, I'm with them on this. This is one of those cases. Like, I think that there definitely needs to be some sort of reform in police departments across the United States. And the big problem that I see with this is that these cops are getting military gear without military bearing. And that is the problem, is that they have all of this authority and responsibility with overpowered gear, I would say, for what they're supposed to be doing, but they don't have the adequate training to go along with it. And that's the biggest issue.
That is right. And we don't want anybody out there watching this thinking that we're anti-police, because we're not. But we call a spade. A right is a right and a wrong is a wrong. I'm not just
I try to be honest with what I believe.
Yeah, be honest, man. If the shit was wrong, period. So all my law enforcement friends out there, and I have a lot of you guys, it is what it is. A wrong is a wrong. And a lot more law enforcement officers need to get out there and voice their opinion about it and show people like, hey.
And that's the thing. If we had more police officers and agencies voicing, hey, we need more funding for better training, we need better mental health and counseling and things like this, like that would make this go much better. It's like, if I know the left's idea is defunding, I don't want to defund the police. I want them to be better. That's all I want. Is like, I get these situations are tough. Like, we've been in tough situations too, but you can't have ROEs that are more lax than what we had overseas when we were trying to fight wars for the last 20 years. Right. That's all I'm saying.
And I can speak for the little town I live in. Like, the cops here are pretty good, man.
Yeah.
They don't fuck with people.
I'm talking about city cops. Little town cops are fine.
They don't really mess with people. Yeah. They don't mess with you. They're very respectful. They don't try to come at you like some authoritarian figure and talk at you like you're stupid. They listen, and they're very, very respectful. And that's big ups to like whoever the chief is. Yeah. Whoever the chain of command is, they're the ones telling these guys like, hey, this is not us. We're not going to act like that.
Right.
We're not going to be like Austin PD.
Yeah.
We're going to be our small town PD.
So there is a difference. When I talk about these cops, I'm talking about the big cities. I mean, major metropolitan areas that's got like 1 million plus people. Your sheriff's department, your local cops in your small cities, they're probably not going to be an issue. There might be one or two that are an issue, but we're talking about the larger departments that need more because they have more people that they have to police. I get that. And that's all I want to advocate for, is that working together with these activists in order to get the things that they need in order to succeed. That's what we really want. Anyway, that'll be it for
And one thing about policing before we get off, I think policing needs to get back all the way down to like the neighborhood level.
Yeah, community policing, but in a better way.
Community policing. So in my neighborhood, in my subdivision, it should always be whatever shift they're on is always the same officers, always.
Yeah.
And then they need to go around and start knocking on doors, introducing themselves. I'm officer this, I'm officer this. Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Hey, if there's any issues, here's my card. Call me directly. And, that's community policing.
Yeah.
So now they know everyone within that community, or not everyone, but they know the majority of people. They ask about you. They go and hang out at your barbecues. I mean, they're just doing what cops are, should do.
Like having sectors for individual police officers.
Yeah. Sectors for all of them.
I agree with that. That's actually a good solution. Go back to the community policing.
Community policing. That's how you fix a lot of these issues. That's how you get rid of these trust issues with police. Because if the police knew somebody that lived in that house and they know them already, they can de-escalate most situations.
Yeah. If you know your buddy Mike down the road, like it's going to be a little different. So
you'd be like, oh, I know Michael Harris. He lives right here. Let me go talk to him. I know him.
Yeah.
And then they come and talk to you, de-escalate, and then they listen more because they know you. But now you just get random cops and they show up and they knock on your door and then they coming in all amped up and you're amped up. And then it's just two people, grown ass men, amped up, ready to throw blows with each other. So the shit doesn't de-escalate. That's why if you have community policing,
maybe doing rotations and getting more time off for these officers so they can decompress, just like deployments, right? You can't go straight every day into the shit and then expect these guys to come out with intact brains. That's all I'm saying. You got to treat it like a deployment. Give them some time off. Give them 6 months, whatever. Do 6-month rotations with people. Like you're on that for 6 months, you're off for 6 months kind of situation. Keep them fresh.
That's right. I believe that.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.